Okay, let's get this thing rocking and rolling. Oh, we already have. Woo-hoo. Okay, the place is full. This is great. How many of you first time? All right. Woo! That's good stuff. Believe me, I think everybody will have fun here. We're here to have fun, but we're also here to learn. We're just doing we got a lot of stuff, and we got a lot of people to introduce today that makes this thing happen. I am Bob Hansen. I'm a battalion chief over in Tolleson, over on the west side of the valley. And I'm here to welcome you and try to make your experience here enjoyable. Learn whatever you can learn. And the big thing is network. Try to meet other people from other departments. You're only going to learn from meeting other people. You might be from a huge metropolitan department. Meet the guy that's out there that maybe has 2 or 3 people in his department. You're going to learn a lot from them. I'll tell you, because what they do with 2 or 3 people, and then all of a sudden you have 50 people show up on a scene, you're going, how do they do that? And they do it just as well as you do with 50. And you guys that have 2 or 3 people in your department, ask the guys that have 50 people showing up on a scene. See how they do it. Maybe you can learn something from them. It's a whole big learning experience here, so that's the big thing. You're going to learn a lot in your classes, but also take opportunities other times when you're out in the hallway, when you're eating lunch, breakfast, dinner, some of our activities, and we're going to go over those. So, some class changes that we had. You should have got all those when you checked in. I believe it was, now I left my sheet back in my room. But if you have any issue that all of a sudden you don't know where your class is, just find one of the gentlemen today that are in the khaki pants, the shirt that says, hey, I'm a training committee person, or go to the registration desk. They will be able to direct you wherever you need to go. So we're going to also talk a little bit about the off-site locations. If you're going to the Mesa Training Center, please, if you need directions, because some of the directions and the maps that we have may be a little confusing to you, in this back corner after we get all done this morning, please meet Jim Fry, who is the person in charge of the Mesa Training Center. Meet Jim back there for the Mesa Training Center. If you need to go to Chandler, over the Chandler Training Facility, meet Randy Carr back in this area, back over here. Randy Carr will be telling you how exactly to get to the Chandler site. If you need to go to the Mesa Fleet Facility, if you're taking the pumps class, meet straight back in the back, and you will be meeting Tom Tatum back there. If you need to go to the Scottsdale or Tempe training area, meet right up here in the front corner, Tempe or Scottsdale training facility, meet right up here in front, and you're going to be meeting with Mark DeBrooker. And if you need to go to the Phoenix Training Center, meet right up here in this front corner with Chuck Monroe. So this side up here is Phoenix Training Center, Scottsdale Tempe Training Center up here, Mesa Training Center right there, Mesa Fleet if you're taking pumps. Anything out in Chandler would be over in that area. So if you're not sure where you're going to need to go, meet in those locations. The basic skills class, not the basic live fire, but the basic skills class, they will meet here at 1:30. So you're not going to be the basic skills class, not the basic live fire. Basic live fire still goes over to the training center. The basic skills class, that was the number 1 class on the agenda there, will be meeting in this room at 1:30. If you also haven't seen it or your department hasn't seen it, if you are here not on a scholarship because of some actions that will be talked about here a little bit later, if your department paid for everything, you are not here on scholarship, make sure you ask about a $100 rebate. Your department can get a $100 rebate for you being here, completing your class, doing everything you were supposed to do, fill out the paperwork, and you can get a $100 rebate for that. So that should have went out to your departments, and everybody should have seen that out there then too. What else do we have? Okay, let's get into a little bit of our events. Thursday night. How many of you like football? Okay. How many of you like Green Bay? We got some Packer fans, some cheeseheads, huh? Oh. And how about those flying birds, those Seahawks? Oh, I can tell there might be some. You Seahawks better start flying a little bit higher or something, man. It sounds like there's more Green Bay in here. Okay, we got a tailgate pool party tonight. It's out at the pool. It'll be starting at about 5:30. We're going to have several TVs set up around the pool, and we're going to have the football game when it comes on. The hotel has a grill going on out there. They have hamburgers, hot dogs, and they also have adult beverages out there. Just saying, you know. But they also have the water and the Cokes and all that for you, too. Remember to stay hydrated. You are at the pool, so it's really easy to stay hydrated. Okay, come on. Liven up a little bit. What did I say? We're here to have fun. Yeah. Okay, so pool party tonight. Make sure you come. If you don't have a swimsuit, I'm sure you can probably find one. Please wear a swimsuit. But we do have some good deals on the adult beverages and the food and everything out there. Friday night, Chief Nichols from Daisy Mountain, one of our committee members, has been working very hard again this year. Last year we partnered up with the Motorcycles on Main, which takes over a whole big area right off the campus over here. And they have approximately 1,000 motorcycles. But then they also have beer gardens set up. They have all this other stuff set up over there. And then we have partnered with them where we now put up our fire truck displays. We do our vendor booths over there. We have a lot of different stuff. And Chief Nichols has said that this year they are teleconferencing with a gentleman that was involved with the Twin Towers. So you'll hear a little bit of that. They're going to be doing some demonstrations over there, extrication demonstrations and some other stuff. So it's going to be a fun evening Friday night over there. If you got kids, other family members, or whoever, please bring them out to Friday night. Friday night is the fun time for families. That's when we have fun. There's all kinds of neat things to see. They get to see fire trucks. They get to see motorcycles. They get to see mom and dad or whoever buying beers at the beer garden. Oh, no, really, it's only a Coke. It looks like a Coors Light can. It's a Diet Coke. And then Saturday night, that's when you leave everybody that you don't want to know that what you do, but you have fun. Saturday night is the raffle night, our no rules raffle. That is the adult night. That's when we do have fun, and we let go a little bit. How many have been to raffle night before? Yeah. You guys got to tell all the newbies about raffle night. We will be going around and selling raffle tickets. If you haven't seen it, over where we sell our shirts. They also sell raffle tickets over there. If you're on an off-site, if you're over at the Mesa, Scottsdale, Tempe, Chandler, Phoenix, wherever, get with your instructors who will get with the coordinators, and we can have shirts, raffle tickets, anything brought out to you. Because you are so far off of campus here, we can have that stuff brought out to you. We have runners that bring stuff out. Attendance sheets and everything like that. We can bring raffle tickets out there, and don't be surprised that all of a sudden the coordinator walks in and he goes, "Hey, here's a big line of raffle tickets. You're going to buy them." Huh? Yeah, you're going to buy them. We have all kinds of neat prizes. If you haven't seen our challenge coin that we have, it's a set of now 5 challenge coins. I'm still trying to just get one, and they won't sell me one, because they put together all 5 in a shadow box. So that shadow box is a silent auction coming up for Saturday night also. So you can get in on that silent auction then too. So anything on Saturday night, any monies that we make off of Saturday night, all that money goes back into the funds to help run the fire school. So that's how we get some of our funds to put all this stuff on. So Saturday night. Thursday night is the pool party. Friday night is the fun family night out there. Saturday night is stuff in the big ballrooms over here at the hotel. What else we got? I'll do those in a little bit. I think that's about it that I have. So what I'd like to do is invite Randy Redmond up onto the stage. Randy will be talking to you guys a little bit about our foundation that has been set up that also helps us. And how many of you came to school? I guess I'm going to ask a question, Randy. How many of you came to school on a foundation, an APS scholarship? Yeah, this is some of the stuff that we're working on, and Randy's going to talk a little bit about this. Randy is the fire chief of Sierra Vista, and he is also the Arizona Fire Chief of the Year. So thank you, Randy. Welcome, Randy.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it. Good morning, and thanks again for being here. What a great crowd. Looks like we have about 1,000 people out there this morning, so it's wonderful. I'm going to talk this morning about the Arizona Firefighters Fund. And what's going on there is this fund, which we initiated, we thought about 4 years ago, initiated 3 years ago, still doing exactly the same thing that we talked about doing. We're raising money and supporting rural and small volunteer fire departments. We recognize across the state the departments that have some funding for training. It's hard for us, but for you it may be impossible. And we've made some good strides. We have a long way to go, but with some partnerships, it's been really a great road. You can fire up my PowerPoint. I appreciate it. Let's first talk about our web page. On our web page, helparizonafirefighters.com. If you go on, it gives a brief story about the history of the school. More importantly, it gives a link for contribution. We have that out there. We want to talk about that. And please, all of you, take this message forward to those that you serve, because every one of us at one time or another gets the question, what can we do for you? Have this in your box of tricks to offer for people to help out the fire service. The second thing I want to talk about, next, is this mine? Bobby, how do you do this? Second button? I'm doing it. Thank you very much. The VFFA has put out a pamphlet that we've been able to use the reverse side of to talk about it. And on the back of that pamphlet, each of you will receive one. They'll be in the classrooms when you get there. A little history again, and it refers us back to the web page for contribution. Please, if you want some of those in your jurisdiction, to have those, to hand out, and to carry that torch and to help raise money for the future, we appreciate that. What's going on? This year, through the help of partnerships, we were able to give away 99 scholarships. That's 100 people here today that may or may not have been here, but we know one thing for sure, that the funding has sure helped out. We know that. We have 67 here from the Arizona Public Service. They're here with us. We can recognize them tonight. We have 25 State Training Committee scholarships, and we have 4 from Apache Nitrogen. We can't thank them enough, and we will talk more about that in just a minute. The Arizona Firefighters Fund, the fund itself, we have 2 sides of the fund. We have our long-term investment fund, and we have our money that we collect every year and we pay for scholarships. This year, hopefully by the end of the year, our long-term investment fund, which ultimately our goal is $1 million. The interest off of that will be able to make fire school tuition free for 500 students. That's our first goal. We're not going to stop there, but that is primarily our first goal. Currently, right now in that fund, we have about $80,000, and by the end of this year, I believe we'll have 100. For all of you that are going to request the $100 reimbursement, please do. Take advantage of that. But if you feel a need not to, that $100 will be donated in your name to this fund. This year, we were able to collect $41,000 and expend 100% of it on scholarships. The next issue, we've been talking about this. This is our license plate. We want this license plate to be an option for you when you register your vehicles and anybody who wants to support the fire service. We made it down to the last day last year. We made it down to the last vote in the legislature last year, and all we needed was a majority vote, and we got a 14-14, and we didn't get it. That doesn't stop us from trying again. That just means we're a little closer. The first year we didn't make it that far. The second year we made it a little further, and I hope with the help of the people that are here tonight that we'll talk about in a minute, we'll make it work. I'll tell you an example of what this does. The license plate that's for abused children, which is not the most popular license plate. In fact, a lot of you are probably trying to think about what that plate is. Wonderful plate, love it, support it. That plate brought in $400,000 last year. So we may be able to make a significant change in the burden of this school from the audience to the committee, and hopefully someday this school will be so affordable that this room won't hold us. I'd like to move on with some thank yous. I'd like to have a chairman of our committee, Mr. Clay Wood, come up, please. I'm going to start by talking about some of the stars that we have, and I'm going to end with the one that's been fighting for us diligently. But I'd like to start with Mr. David Gowan. Mr. Gowan, can you come up, please? David Gowan is House Representative Majority Leader. He comes from the Sierra Vista area. We've been friends a long time, but the one thing that David espouses all the time is his dedication to help the military and public safety. Dave's leadership in the House was able to enable us to recreate some funding for fire school that we lost in 2008. That funding is what's going to fund your $100 reimbursement scholarship. Mr. Gowan, we appreciate everything you've done, and we'll hold the applause till the end, and we're not going to let you talk. It's a time thing. Dave, stay right here. Stay here. You're right. Okay, you can talk. We're just going to have to be after the end. Dave, next we have with us today is Mr. David Stevens. He again is in the House of Representatives, and he strongly espouses support for fire and EMS and our brothers in arms that are fighting for our country. Mr. Stevens has also held that torch and pushed it. These guys worked diligently last year to try to get our plate through, but you can only do so much, and we do appreciate it. Next is Ms. Gail Griffin. She's from the Arizona Senate, and she is the Speaker Pro Tem, and she was the one who took the sword from these two gentlemen and moved it across the hall and did a wonderful job. Unfortunately, we just didn't finish, but we will, right? That's a lot of pressure there, David. You can't talk, but I'm telling you, we will. The thing that I really, really enjoy is the fact that all three of these people that work out of my area are not unlike the people that work out of your area. Please don't hesitate to make a call to your representatives and speak with them. Tell them how important this is in this license plate bill and what we need to do in the future and what it does for you. Work for yourself. The decisions that are made at this level can have a huge, huge giving for us for a long, long time. As an organization and as fire service, we can't thank you all enough for the hard work and the diligence last year. You fought till the end, and we appreciate it. Please stay here. Next we have, no, you're going to stay. You want to talk too, Gail? Come on. No, you stay down. Bob said I had 15 minutes, and these guys can tell you how tennis shoes are built in about 3 hours. Next, I want to talk about APS. APS contacted the training committee through conversations about a year and a half ago, and they decided to make a primary contribution for fire school scholarships of $25,000, which seems really simple. You write a check for $25,000, that money goes in, we use it for scholarships. That's not what happened. That was the start of a partnership that created a lot more than a simple donation. I'd like to recognize some people from APS. The first one is Mr. David Fretcher, who has not been able to make it, but David is currently the Senior Vice President of Transportation. Holy cow. No, you're not here.
That's right. Not only that, I'm not going to speak.
Hi, Mr. Fretcher, thank you.
Threw you off your game, didn't
Well, what the heck? We don't even know if it's him. Mr. Fretcher is a Senior Vice President of Transmission, Distribution, and Customers, and ultimately has some say in what goes on in philanthropy in that organization. And Mr. Fretcher, we can't thank you enough for the support, and we'll let the people that are here because of you stand in just a minute, and you'll see truly what's happening. Second to that is Mrs. Tina Marie Tintori. She's the Director of Corporate Giving and Executive Director of the APS Foundation. Ms. Tintori. And lastly, but not least, is a young lady that I worked with for over a year without meeting her. We talked on the phone, we emailed. She gave me more assignments than most people that I know. But we worked out things, and I'm telling you, Carrie Cole is our representative and our corporate giving specialist, and she has absolutely been a star for the fire service. I can't... Again, I would say it would be very easy for Carrie to be the face of APS and give the check and support and carry on and get on with her day. But she took the time to do more than that. Contacts were made. I had other people calling me from other organizations. We just received a $5,000 check last week for the foundation, and I know where it come from. So I can't express enough appreciation for all of you. Everybody that's on a scholarship, any type scholarship to the fire school, can you please stand? $727 registered students, 99 are on scholarship this year. That's the most we've ever had. It's because of the people right in front of you right here, by helping us return funding, by pushing the message, and by supporting the fire service. God bless you guys, and thank you so very much. That's our annual summary, but I'd like to end with a message. Bobby said it best. Let's have some fun. Let's enjoy ourselves. But I want to do something different this year. It seems like every year, Bob, a couple or a few in our crowd decide that they want to end their career here. Let's not do that. Let's make good decisions. Let's make decisions that you're okay with, that decisions your mom could see you make. Let's do the things that are right. Let's act like the service we are. Enjoy the heck out of this weekend, but nobody go home and ruin their career here, okay? Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, buddy. Okay, I think Randy said it probably the best. We are in a hotel. The hotel does sell other rooms. We are probably the most rooms that we have here, but they do have other people in here. So just watch your language, and like Randy said, respect other people. Okay, I kind of jumped around, got Randy up here a little bit early, so what I'd like to do next is invite our state fire marshal up, Bob Barger. So Bob, if you can come on up. Oh yeah. What do I tell these people? I tell them, hey, if you're going to come on stage, make sure you're up close to the stage. Don't become walking from the back. You know, these old retired guys that take other jobs.
And I wasn't all the way in the back. I was just right over there. I'm just slow. I'd like to welcome everybody to the State Fire School. In reflecting back on my years in the fire service that are counting over 45 now, I was a captain with Phoenix Fire Department, and I was doing live fire training at the fire school with Herb Hoy years ago. And that experience was very rewarding. It's one of the most rewarding in your careers because you get to help folks that don't get to experience every day those processes. One thing about fire school is you know you're here to get some education, some hands-on training. The experience is the thing that's hard to get, especially in the rural setting. So what you have to do is you have to take your training, your education, put that together, respond on Big Red, and for those of you that don't have Big Red, I'm sorry. That's the Phoenix background. When you go to the call is when you get the experience. Driving to the call is when you get the experience. You don't get the experience sitting around the station, checking out your equipment or anything else. You get it when you go, when you're on the street. You have to take your training, education, the equipment that you have available, size up what you're up against, and then proceed to intervene as best you can and survive the incident yourself. The best thing that you can ever do for yourself that we implemented, especially as a company officer when I was out and about, was we would always have, after the incident, we would have a tailboard talk. We would talk about how our training came into play, how our equipment came into play, and how we performed. And then what experience did we get out of that so that we would survive the next one and the next one. When you look around at everybody in this room, and God bless you all, it's about mental health, physical health, and surviving the incidents. People are waiting out there, and we know we're going to have the calls. It doesn't matter where you're at in the state of Arizona, United States, or anywhere else. You're going to have the fires. You're going to have the head-on collisions. The things that happen in the city of Phoenix are the same things that you all are up against in the most rural communities in the state of Arizona. You've got to have the same training, education, and you've got to get that experience because you want to survive it, because you want to become, how did Bob say it, like me, an old guy that takes second jobs. So you want to be able to get to that process. So you want to move on. And sometimes we let ourselves down, probably mentally. Everybody's aware about the suicide rates that we have within our service. You've got to talk to each other. Those tailboard talks are the best way to get that debrief and get it out of your mind, get it out of your heart. That you did what you could do and you intervened when you got there. So mental health is as important as anything else that we can do. Back in the old days when I used to jump on the back of engine 7, I was the only one on the back holding onto the pipe so I wouldn't fall off, going to the call. We actually had that process back then. We had a captain who would make sure that we sat around the table when we got back to the station. I probably shouldn't say this. We would have coffee and we would light up our cigarettes. And we'd talk about how good we did. But it all helped relieve that process. So again, as your careers move forward in things, God bless you. Take care of yourselves. And I do want to mention also, some others have mentioned it, the most dangerous thing that you're going to face this weekend is Saturday night. So be careful. God bless you, and Godspeed. Thank you.
Thanks,
You want to
Bob.
help me down?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bob wanted to know if he wanted me to help him down. It's probably a good thing. A couple years ago, he came up here in crutches. So, that other nice, big, handsome guy that was up here before handing out plaques, you probably wondered who he was. I want to invite that guy back up here. It's Clay Wood. He is our chair of the training committee. So, Clay.
Good morning. It's good to be here, and I'd really like to thank Bob Hansen for being sensitive today. This is kind of unnormal for him. As you know, this is our 41st annual Arizona State Fire School, and I don't know if you know this or not, but this is the largest student attendance since 2008. Yeah. You know, I was thinking about this earlier. I remember attending fire school, and I started my career in the fire service in 1991, so I'm really not that old. And I promise, if you look at some of our committee members, I'm really not. And I remember in 1993 was my first opportunity to come to fire school, and I was with the Taylor Fire Department, one just like you, one of the small rural volunteer departments in the state. And we were at a training meeting one Thursday night trying to figure out if we could afford to send anybody to fire school. And there was 2 of us that year that got to come for the first time. And I can remember sitting in the audience thinking, this is absolutely phenomenal to be part of that. How about that honor guard? Is that good? You know, the amount of time that those men and women put into being part of this is just one of the the partnerships that we with the Arizona State Training Committee have. And as several were recognized up here, those were some of the few that helped contribute to the success of Arizona Fire School. And it takes partnerships like that to make this school successful. The city of Mesa, Chief Harry Beck and his staff, those guys have been phenomenal for us. The interim mayor, Alex Finter, and his staff have been phenomenal to help us. The Phoenix Mesa Marriott staff, can you guys stand up? They're over there with us. Stand up and wave. Donald Gibson as the general manager. And I don't know if you know how hard him and his staff work, along with the city of Mesa, to make this success for us. They do a phenomenal job. Please, if you need anything, let them know, but have a smile on your face when you talk to them, and they'll be a whole lot more willing to help you, and they'll do their best for you, I promise. I also would like to recognize the training committee. Will you, men and women, please stand up? You'll notice them in they're in the blue shirts, the khaki pants. Just so you know, they're not paid to do this. We travel across the state. We have, every other month, we have a meeting somewhere, someplace, to try to put this program together. Their time, their funding, everything is sanctioned pretty much through them. Obviously, the departments and districts do help with that, but it is their responsibility to make sure that they're there. So they put in a lot of time to make this happen. I'd also like to recognize two people that I don't know if you know. You probably have heard of Melina Hoya and Jeff Johnston. They work out of AZCFSC. Jeff and Melina, can you guys stand? They anything to do with testing or certification, those are the names and faces, or those are the faces of the names that you see. So again, I'd just like to thank them for the time that they have. Thank you for what you've done, and let's have a good school. And I think our state fire marshal said a really good thing. Remember, pace yourself, not paste yourself. Let's have fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Clay talked a lot about some other partnerships and stuff that we do. We also partnership with other associations. We have a class here on site that we partnered with the Arizona Fire Chiefs with. They have their conference, but because we do training here, and not that they don't do training at their conference, but we have actually brought that class kind of in. I think it's the second time we've done this class. And we're pretty much the prime sponsor for this class. It's called the New Chiefs Seminar, and it's put on by the Arizona Fire Chiefs Association. With this committee, though, they have also gotten other sponsors out there to help this event because, once again, it's not that your registrations are paying for some of your classes. Some of the other things that we get in through the foundation and everything else pays for these classes. But the fire chiefs also have to go out there and help us pay for their classes. So they've also gone out and got Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona to help out with theirs, Target Solutions, and Mr. Bill Richards of MES to help out with that class there. So we've also partnered up with that association, and those other sponsors have helped us to help those new chiefs coming on board, because we want to teach new chiefs how to be chiefs, right? The answer is yes. We want to teach the chiefs how to be chiefs. Oh, wait a minute, I am a chief. Yeah, okay. So, it looks like our honor guard is about ready to come back in. So if we're ready, what we'd like to do now is invite them back in, and we're going to do our firefighter memorial. So honor guard, it is all yours.
And now we remember those members who have passed away during the last year.
Bob Edwards, Aguila Fire Department.
Alan Eustace, BIA Hopi Fire Rescue.
Russell Pauline Yemtawa, BIA Hopi Wildland Fire.
Phil Harbison, Camp Verde Fire District.
Kevin Benekhout, Christopher Coles Fire Department.
Daryl Rayburn, Fort Mojave Mesa Fire District.
Marvin Johnson, Gila River Fire Department.
Dan E. Leeds, Greer Fire District.
Gary Woods Jr., Honeywell Fire Department.
Joseph A. Quintanares, Mesa Fire Department.
Don Rollins, Mesa Fire Department.
Glenn R. West, Mesa Fire Department.
John Fred Jane, JJ, Mesa Fire Department.
Gary Johnstone, Phoenix Fire Department.
Mark Terrell, Rural Metro Fire Department.
Clarence Chandler, Sierra Vista Fire Department.
Justin Fisher, Springerville Fire Department.
David Sawarski, Tucson Fire Department.
David Enns, Tucson Airport Authority Fire Department.
Robert Martinez, Winkleman Volunteer Fire Department.
Roger Apodaca, Winkleman Volunteer Fire Department.
And for those members who died in the line of duty,
Bobby Moller, Hell's Gate Fire Department.
Thomas R. Quesnel, Tucson Fire Department. All uniformed personnel, please rise. The men and women of today's fire service are confronted with a more dangerous work environment than ever before. We are forced to continually change our strategies and tactics to accomplish our tasks. Our methods may change, but our goals remain the same as they were in the past, to save lives and to protect property, sometimes at a terrible cost. This is what we do. This is our chosen profession. This is the tradition of the firefighter. The fire service of today is ever-changing, but it is steeped in traditions 200 years old. One such tradition is the sounding of the bell. It was the bell that signaled the start of duty. Through the days and nights, each alarm was sounded by a bell. It called them to fight fires and to place their lives in jeopardy for the good of their fellow man. And when the fire was out and the alarm had been completed, it was the bell that signaled its end. When a firefighter died in the line of duty, paying the supreme sacrifice, it is the mournful toll of the bell that solemnly announced a comrade's passing. We seek strong words and symbols that give us a better understanding of our feelings when we express a loss. And when we use these words and symbols to reflect the devotion our brothers and sisters had for their duties. The sounding of the bell, a special signal of 3 rings 3 times each, represented the end of their duties and that they were returning to quarters. And now for our fallen, who have completed their tasks, their duties well done, they have given their best. For our brothers, their last alarm, they have gone home.
Go ahead and be seated. Wow, huh? I'm sure they could still hear you back there. Once again, those folks, they come here, they practiced last night for probably 3-4 hours. They got here early this morning, practiced for another couple hours, and you know what their payment was? A $15 shirt. So they did a great job for that. Yeah, this is really kind of good. We had actually one of our old committee members, Gary Woods, who used to work at Honeywell. He was part of that, and then it really hit you hard when one of your high school buddies, his name is up there. That's bad. So anyway, what I want to do is invite Janet Morlock up here. She's going to be presenting one of our first awards. It's going to be for our Arizona Fire and Life Safety Awards. So Janet, thank you for coming up, and thank you for giving this award out. And I'll let you kind of explain it.
Thank you. This is just cool. This is a great audience, a great cause. I'm glad to see so many people out here doing what they love to do. Which brings me to the award I'm presenting on behalf of Arizona Fire and Burn Educators Association. You know, you all have some opportunities this week to meet some amazing people and form some amazing bonds. The fire service family knows no boundaries of municipality. It knows no boundaries of state lines even. Or in the case of AFB, we cross national borders. We don't much care. But you'll have the opportunity, if you're lucky in life, we are occasionally blessed to meet someone who touches our soul and makes our heart sing. I'm honored to be here on behalf of AFB to present the Educator of the Year Award to a firefighter whose efforts to make the world a safer place through education and injury prevention training have reached hundreds between the ages of 3 and 93. And she may have even went a little on either side of that. She's been a gift to the fire service for nearly 20 years, not only because of her passion for public education and injury prevention locally, but for sharing her skills in surrounding communities, surrounding states, and indirectly by sharing her knowledge and skills with countless other public safety professionals nationwide. She is a member of several state and local organizations and coalitions. She provides programs, and I'm just touching the tip of the iceberg on this woman, but she provides programs for preschoolers at her local library because she knows the importance of teaching children safety behaviors young. She hits school children in her community and surrounding communities at least twice a year. Every month she visits her school's kindergartners and reads to them and teaches them about life safety. She makes emergency response, every emergency response in her community, a training opportunity. Her EMS responders are prepared when they visit a home, regardless of the call, to provide safety information, not only to the patient, but to the family that helps protect them. She manages the Guardian Angel program, providing alert pendants for seniors. She manages the smoke alarm program, often doing the installs herself, because she doesn't want to miss that amazing moment that she'll have with those families to provide some safety tips that may save their lives. Her fire safety character is named Fizzles the Clown. I don't know how many other characters she has, but anybody who's ever been around the fire safety business or the AFB conferences knows Fizzles. Fizzles is pretty well known in the community. Kids and grown-ups alike will stop her on the street, whether she's in her fire gear or enjoying her what little time she has off in civilian clothes, to thank her or share information that she learned, that she taught them months and maybe years ago. She does all this as a result of a passion and not a paycheck. Her position within the fire department is that of engineer, EMT, PIO, and wildland firefighter. She does the bulk of her programs on her own time, in spite of, by the way, being a busy mom who's raised some fine kids. She spends her vacations doing things like, chairing and teaching at the AFBI Educational Characterization Conference. She also visits other states and helps them plan conferences. For several years, she has been teaching public educator classes at Texas A&M. She works at Arizona Burn Camp, and she can often be found on the road helping other departments set up new programs. She helps them write skits. She helps them identify safety concerns in their family. She teaches them how to put on makeup if they want to clown and how to talk funny if they want to be a puppeteer. She builds sets, and she's there to guide them through every step of the way, even jumping on stage sometimes to help them out. From the number of lives she touches and the number of programs she presents annually, you would never guess that being a public educator was ancillary to her primary duties at the fire department. For the most part, when she's educating, she's a volunteer. Watching her grow from a bit of a wild child rookie to an accomplished firefighter and more than dedicated educator who has and will continue to do great things and inspire others, neither for financial gain or recognition, but simply because that's the fine and caring person that she is. I've considered my knowing Stacy for those 20 years to be one of my greatest gifts from my 30-some years in the fire service. I know that she will continue the educational mission that AFBI founders had in mind 25 years ago when they built this group that everybody said wouldn't last, to help firefighters bring safety education to their communities, making prevention a priority, to help prevent some of those responses and some loss of life, not only for their citizens, but for the firefighters that answer the call. Today I stand before you incredibly proud to present our Educator of the Year Award to Pine Strawberries, Stacy Figueroa. This side? Use the mic. And in case you haven't noticed, this is one of the people that definitely makes my heart sing. Thank you, Stacy.
Just real quick. If you guys were a bunch of preschoolers, I'd have no problem up here. I do get to hundreds of kids a year and have no problem. I can teach 6'6" firefighters how to put makeup on and teach them that glitter is a fun thing. But all of you guys have me really nervous and nauseated. There's actually too many of you here to try and picture you in your underwear too, so I'll just stay nervous. Real quick, I just want to thank Arizona Fire and Burn educators. I've been involved with them for about 18, 19 years, and the support, the belief in me, and the push that I've gotten from them over the years has been beyond words. They are truly a part of my firefighter family. I'd like to thank my family for coming today. One of my sons is here, my boyfriend, my brother, who is my partner in crime most of the time, and then my parents. Without you guys watching my dog and my garden, I wouldn't be able to go away as much as I do. I do have a very loving and supportive community and my department. If it wasn't for my crew, and especially my captain, I probably wouldn't get to do a lot of the things that I do on shift. I thank the Pine Strawberry Fire Department. One last thing, to especially you new firefighters out there, years 1 to 5, I know at first we put this uniform on thinking we're gonna get on the big red trucks and just be that big bad firefighter, and I just wanna remind you guys that we're always being watched, that you always have an audience. And it's everyone's job to educate our community. No disrespect to the admin, fire prevention educators, public educators, but when those kids come up to you in that big red truck or come to your fire department, they're not excited to go back and see the people behind the desk that do their pub ed programs. They're excited to see you. So it's up to you to help spread that message, and it's up to you to take it upon yourself to know what the new messages are, to teach our kids on up to our elderly in the community how to be safe, and to really be the true hero that they look up to us to be. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Janet. Thank you, Stacy. Before we get into our next stuff, if you're staying here at the hotel, you know, we talked about some of the partnerships and how the hotel's really been helping out. You probably had one of these things in your hotel room. It was a newsletter put together by one of our hotel staff here, and they're trying to say, hey, Rob, you need to get out of here because maybe you need to be a graphic artist. But Rob, you need to stay here. You need to stay here. Rob put this all together, and it's a little newsletter. I think you guys still have a few maybe at the front desk. They still have a few at the front desk, so if you're interested in what's going on, Rob put together a little brochure or a little newsletter, tells you all the activities that are going on. They have posted all the stuff around the hotel, so you know that on Saturday night, Nick, the bar manager, restaurant manager over there, he's having a reverse half price or whatever it is on Bud Lights and Buds on Saturday night too after the raffles. So Rob has put all this stuff in here together. The chef has got a great menu this year, so if you have not eaten over at Cafe Azul, please go over and try their food. We had a little snafu last year with seating, and what we've told them is, hey, we're all firefighters. If somebody's sitting at a table by themselves and 3 other people come in, just go over and say, hey, do you mind if some of these other firefighters come over and sit with you? What did I say? It's all about networking. They're going to come in and they'll probably sit down with you. They're maybe from that big department, small department, but the chef has put together a great menu. What they're going to be doing at lunchtime is also we're going to try to make sure all of our instructors break you at about the same time. So if you're carpooling, you need to go somewhere or do something, you can do that. But try to stay on campus here. The chef has a barbecue, a couple barbecues going over there. Today he is doing a Philly cheesesteak over there from 11 to 1:30. On Friday, on tomorrow, he's doing a barbecue pulled pork sandwich. And on Saturday, in the courtyard area, also he's doing an Italian sausage sub over there, along with all the regular menu type stuff over there. So the chef has put together a whole big thing. And if you bought tickets for the breakfast, the buffet breakfast in the morning for $8, and I think that was the pre-sale stuff. If you buy them at the door, they're $10. It's just it's in the Canyon Room, and it's a nice, simple buffet. If you want the more expensive buffet, you go in the Cafe Azul, and it costs a little bit more, and you get a few more items. But remember, these ladies and gentlemen that are sitting even at our buffet or somewhere doing the stuff, even though they're not bringing you food, they're still going and getting the food, making sure our trays are full. When you guys leave, they're clearing off the tables. So please leave them something, $1, $2, whatever you feel that you need to leave. But they're not serving you all the time, but they need some gratuities too. So Rob has put all this together. So thank you, Rob. And what they've also done is the hotel's also given back. If you had one of these and you're staying here, a little coupon here that if you stay here between now and the end of the year, they'll upgrade you to the concierge level free of charge and all that. So the hotel has really been working real good and putting together stuff like this along with all the other stuff that's out there. So please tip your waiters and waitresses even if they're not out there. So what I'd like to do next is we probably all heard about the slide fire up at Sedona area this year, right? Yeah, it was a big fire, one of our first big fires. What we have coming up is Chief Dirk Foreman. He works at the Highlands Fire District for the last 27 years. He first was a volunteer firefighter and now is the newly appointed fire chief. Congratulations, Chief. He is a graduate of the Northern Arizona University. He holds an AAS degree in fire science and a master's certificate in the business management. Chief Foreman is active in the Arizona Fire Chiefs Association, serving on the Wildland Fire Committee. He also serves as a executive board of the Ponderosa Fire Advisory Council, and he recently accepted a position on the board of directors for the Arizona Wildfire and Incident Management Academy. Chief Foreman has an extensive background in wildfire and served on the Northern Arizona Incident Management Team. So Chief Foreman, please come up, and what he's going to kind of talk to you about is how it impacted his community along with how that whole incident management team comes together and helps you in a community. So Chief Foreman, thank you.
Thank you. Well, I do have some slides for you, and we'll try to run through some of this. See if I can find the back. There we go. Get this little thing figured out. I am one of the new chiefs that's here for the new chiefs seminar. I've been a fire chief now for about 35 days, so I'm pretty new at it. And I am going to try to imagine all of you in your underwear because I'm pretty nervous myself. So if I turn my back on you a little bit, that's just so I can catch my breath and compose myself before I turn back around and talk to you. At least we got this mic, and no matter what I do, you'll be able to hear what I say. And hopefully you won't hear me, cough too much or anything like that. So, slide fire. We know about that, and initially, when I kind of got this assignment to talk about the slide fire, it was, can you give a slide fire update? I'll give you the update. The fire's out. So a little bit about, I'm going to try to tell you a little bit of a story, okay? More than just reading through the slides line for line and that kind of thing. In my story, it starts with me, of course, like every good story does. I've been in the fire service for 27 years. I started as a volunteer firefighter when I moved with my new wife into our new house in a small community outside of Flagstaff. About the same time, like most young men that grow up around Flagstaff and grow up in the forest, I started working for the Forest Service as a firefighter. And I spent about 10 years with the Forest Service. Then I worked for the state of Arizona for a while and parlayed my volunteer service into a career in the fire service. And I've worked in the wildland world extensively, I think. It holds true to my heart, and it's the one thing that I really, really, really enjoy, and I try to stay involved in that as much as I can. Those of you that are involved with any kind of wildland firefighting understand the ENGB up there, Engine Boss. I got that certification way back a long time ago, an NWCG red card for Engine Boss, and I've worked my way up through the system to be now a division supervisor and a Type 3 IC. I've traveled across the country from Michigan to Washington State, from Montana to Southern California on fire assignments. Wildfire is not a stranger to me. I know about it and I know what it means. A little bit about my fire department. We're a rather small fire department just outside of Flagstaff, south of the city limits. It's the Highlands Fire District. We're an all-risk department like many fire departments. EMS, hazmat first response, rescue, structure fire, and of course wildfire. We serve about 6,000 people. That number of folks fluctuates, gets more in the summer of course and a little less in the winter. We cover about 50 square miles in our primary response area. Most of that is undeveloped national forest. I've got 6 communities that are essentially bedroom communities for the city of Flagstaff. 2 of them are Firewise communities. They've recognized by Firewise USA and have that nice little plaque at the entrance to their community. We are surrounded by the ponderosa pines of the Coconino National Forest and are a true urban interface area. The threat from wildfire is a major concern for us. I staff 2 full-time stations, and we supplement those folks with volunteers. So we are a combination fire department. In addition to our normal training that we do, structured fire, EMS, all the things that we have to do, we train heavily in wildland fire response. And we do that because we recognize the threat from wildland fire. All my personnel are well-equipped, full turnout gear, full wildland PPE, fire shelters, hand tools, the whole works. I've got dedicated wildfire engines. All my personnel pack test every year. They're all red carded either through the fire district or from the state of Arizona. We respond our engines through that cooperative agreement with the state forestry division throughout the western United States. We thought we were pretty well prepared for a wildfire too. And then it happened. Early in the afternoon on May 20th, a small fire started just north of the Slide Rock State Park and impacted, and I'll tell you really, we ought to have a couple people from Sedona Fire up here as well, because the impact to them is probably greater than it was to me. But we're not really going to talk about impact, right? If you came to listen about, houses burning and trees falling and watching some nice stuff about air tankers dropping retardant and all that, that's not what I'm here for. As you can hear, the recurring theme here about fire school is relationships, networking. That's what I want to talk to you about. But I just want to give you a little bit of background about the Slide Fire. So the fire started on May 20th, small fire north of Slide Rock in the middle of Oak Creek Canyon. This kind of terrain. It rapidly grew, and by early afternoon, or a little later in the afternoon, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, something like that, we were sending resources down to Sedona to help them. We have an automatic aid agreement with Sedona. By dark, the fire had continued to grow, and I had ash falling in my neighborhood. I had smoke settling in on my neighborhoods. And as I was driving around through this snowstorm of ash, I thought, man, this is the big one. This is the one that we've been worried about for the past 20 years coming into my neighborhood. The fire continued to go through the night. And about 11 o'clock in the evening, I was just trying to get back to my house and try to get a little bit of sleep. The initial attack incident commander from the Slide Fire called me, and he and I have been good friends. We kind of came up in the fire service together and kind of followed parallel paths. He in the Forest Service, I in the fire service. Both fire services, but on the fire department side. He and I were both Mormon like hot shots together, and I had a very good relationship with him. Relationship number 1. He called me and said something like, "Dirk, man, this fire's growing fast, and it's going to the rim, and we've ordered a Type 1 incident management team." Cool, I asked him which team. He said, Arizona's Southwest Area Type 1 Incident Management Team. I said, fantastic. I had a relationship with most of those people as well. The next morning, 5 a.m. in the morning, May 21st, I was in one of my fire stations with my officers, with some folks from the Forest Service. We were poring over maps, and we were looking at road systems, and we were looking at where we could hold this fire that could potentially come in and impact my community. We started calling the local partners that we have, the other fire departments around Flagstaff, the greater Flagstaff area, and asking them, what did they have available? What had they not already sent to Sedona? What could they send to us in case we needed that help? Really, the big question was, how are we going to hold on to this fire until the incident management team gets here and takes it over and starts their strategy and their tactical planning? We came up with those answers, of course, but the incident here is a little bit of the backstory. I called a full recall, and I had all my personnel come back. Immediately, since I knew who the incident management team was, I started making phone calls to their operations section chief, and I said, the first thing you need to do for me is order me a strike team of structure protection engines and get them delivered to my district as soon as you can. I also got in touch with the state of Arizona and declared my need to state forestry. And that's kind of a neat process that I had never been through before. Running a simple structure fire, a 10-acre lightning fire, an EMS assignment, you don't really often think that my fire department is going to have need. But we certainly did. And this declaration of need allows the state forestry division to help us inside our district with these extra engines, with the possibility of some funding to help those folks that are coming to help us. And it really helps cost share some things for us, and I was grateful for that. Over the next 5 days, we had a strike team of engines from out of area in my district. I had 4 engines from my fire department, staffed full-time, nearly around the clock. That's a financial impact on any fire department. And understand that this could happen to you. And we also had a number of miscellaneous single resources from the district that had come to work to help me to answer phones, to bird dog the strike team around and teach them some about the district so they knew where to go and what to do. Through the effort of a whole lot of people, and not a whole lot of effort on my part, but a whole lot of people, that fire was finally contained. The threat to my district was mitigated pretty quickly, and for that I'm grateful as well. But there was a lot of firefighting left to do, and it took until early in June, right, for this fire to really be fully contained and fully controlled at somewhere around 21,000, I'm going to give you an estimate, 21,227 acres. Possibly the biggest fire in the history of the Coconino National Forest. So let's talk about the incident management team, and this is really the part that I wanted to talk about. The incident management team arrived in the Flagstaff area, and they set up their command post. I will share with you that not every incident management team, none of them are created equally. We had a great ally with this incident management team. Much like your fire departments and your fire districts and the management of your fire district and fire department, a incident management team is a reflection of the incident commander. If you have a good incident commander, you're going to have a good incident management team. We were lucky that this local, right, Type 1 incident management team was available to us, and that they accepted the order and they came to Flagstaff. I felt even luckier because I knew these folks, and I'd built relationships with people on this team over a period of time, a period of years. And I knew probably the majority of the folks that were on that team. And that was good for me. I knew their experience level. and I trusted them to do the right thing for my community and for me and my fire district. One of the important things to remember when an incident management team comes in is you have to get involved with them. And you might recognize some of these people as the stakeholders involved in this, as the folks with the dog in the fight. We engaged with the incident management team immediately. Very important as they transitioned from that Type 3 incident command system to the Type 1 team. We were right there with them in the midst of all of that. Reflection of the IC. We were welcomed immediately into that team environment. We were invited to the in-briefing where the team was being briefed by the Forest Service on their objectives that they wanted set for the fire. We were there during the delegations of authority for the fire. We were involved in all of that. We expressed our concerns to the incident management team, and those folks listened to us in concise, clear communication, not emotional, matter of fact. And because of that, we became valued stakeholders in this whole process of the incident management team. Our opinions were heard, and they were incorporated in the strategy and tactics for the overall incident management. Not only did the team deal with taking care of the incident, but they also dealt with helping take care of Coconino County, my districts in the county, and they helped deal with taking care of my fire district. They recognized that we had needs, and they provided resources to support us in that. They realized, and all of you out there I'm sure understand this in this day and age, the electronic communication devices that we have, Facebook, Twitter, cell phones, all that, this information gets out before we even had time to have a conference or a public meeting. It runs rampant, and you cannot keep up with it. But the incident management team provided us with public information officers, and they helped us arrange this public meeting, attended by some 600 of my community members. We stayed engaged, and I think that's very important. Oftentimes, I have seen this when I've been on fire assignments. Elected officials, public folks show up for a meeting at the onset of the incident, and they never come back. We stayed engaged. We were there every day. Every daily briefing we attended. Oftentimes, 2 briefings a day we were in attendance. We attended all the stakeholder meetings. Those of you not from Coconino County won't recognize this, but there's about, I think every one of my county supervisors is in this picture. We were there with them, and we became part of their stakeholder group as well. We also went to many of the planning meetings to assure that our needs were being met in the plan for the next day. This also helped us in the public information realm because we were able to then be half a day ahead of most of the stuff that was going to be happening the next day. And we were able to disseminate that out to the public. Big help in calming a lot of the fears of the folks that lived on our fire district. Incident management teams, just like any of you that have been on fire assignments, you know, it's 14 days, 2 weeks. It's a small snapshot in the life of that community, in the life of that area, in the time that you're on a force, and an incident management team is no different. They're only there for a couple weeks. Small snapshot. And I will tell you that there is no magical fire suppression that occurs when a Type 1 incident management team shows up. It's easy to say, we're going to give this incident to you. They still have to put the fire out. and there's still a lot of work that goes involved with that. If there is any magic, the magic is in the ability of that incident management team and the stakeholders to quickly build a relationship. That's what's going to happen when you have an incident management team come that's not familiar with you, that's from out of the area, from out of the state, from out of the region. We're incredibly lucky that we had this team right down the road. But you have to build those relationships. You have to be able to move beyond the politics somewhat and move beyond the jurisdictional boundaries and look at the incident and how we're going to box it in and how we're going to put that fire out. It's the incident management's team to build a clear commander's intent for the folks that are working on the fire. And that intent needs to meet the stakeholders' needs. And they need to be able to integrate with the host agencies and understand where you're coming from and what you're talking about and where you're going with what you want them to do. Ultimately, it's the incident management team's job to leave your community having built a good relationship with your agency, with the fire departments, the fire districts that are involved, so that we want to talk to them again in the future, right? We don't want them leaving us with a bad taste in our mouth. Leaving the community knowing that their needs were met. Couple slides on the end, and this probably is way shorter than it was supposed to be, but I don't think you'll all argue with me too much. Relationships are important, and I'll tell you, I used to be the guy who said, oh, relationships, that's a lot of touchy-feely stuff, and I'm not sure I'm interested in that. But I'll tell you, they're invaluable. And the relationships you can start building here will carry you through your career. The networking that you can start here will go with you everywhere. And there's something to be said about just being out there too, being at a training like this, being at an event, being places besides just sitting on your fire district, knowing that this is the way we do it here and we don't need to know about anybody else and we don't want to learn about anything else. There's value to being out there. So get out there some. Get engaged with that incident management team early. And I thought we had fixed the E on that one, so I caught it this morning. Engaged. Engaged early. Don't be silent on your needs as an agency when you're talking with an incident management team. And really, I think this is one of the big points. It's not about losing control of your fire district when the incident management team comes in, which I think a lot of people think. I'm giving away my command of my fire district. The truth is, their job is to help you enhance your standing in the community. And this truly rang true on the slide fire. To this day, I'm still getting people that thank me. Thank you for all the hard work you did on the slide fire. And I have to remind them that there were 1,200 people here on this fire. It wasn't just your fire district, but the standing of our fire district because of this incident and because of this incident management team is elevated in our communities right now, and we appreciate that. I'm going to put a shameless plug in for the Arizona Wildfire and Incident Management Academy. Not unlike fire school, it is a premier place to get wildland fire training. 44 courses on the roster this year, starting at basic wildland fire and moving all the way up through some advanced level fire classes. The brochure that you got has the contact information on it. Please, if you have the desire, come to the Arizona Wildland Fire Academy, and I'll probably see you there as well. I think truly this is the end. I'm Dirk Foreman. I'm the newly appointed fire chief at Highlands Fire. 35 days. I'm going to class later today to learn how to be a fire chief. If you'd like to get in touch with me, D. Foreman, start your networking with me, dforeman@highlandsfire.org. And with that, I thank you for your attention and your time.
Thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you.
I think that was exactly what the training committee wanted, Chief, so thank you very much. And I think it shows that you could be a fire chief and do all this, but it's not the fire chief. A lot of times it's going to be you as a firefighter out there making those relationships so you can go out there and say, hey, Chief, I know this person here. I met this person in fire school. I met this. And, Chief, it wasn't a shameless plug for the Wildland Academy, because we put up the seed money to make that fire academy start, so it wasn't a shameless plug. The next, we're going to get into a couple more awards, and what I'd like to do is invite one of our other committee members up, Paul Frazier. He's going to be doing the Arizona Hall of Fame Awards. So, Paul.
Good morning. As Bob said, my name is Paul Frazier, and I am the chair of the Hall of Fame Committee. And as Chief Wood I am one of the older people or senior people on the committee. Yeah, the Hall of Fame was established in 1998. It recognizes individuals who have made a significant, positive contribution to the fire service and or community, which brings credit to the fire service. Individuals nominated are evaluated based on their years of service, service on committees, state or national impact, educational impact, operational impact, contributions to the community, organizational impact, legislative impact, or other areas that clearly demonstrate the individual's significant contribution to the Arizona Fire Service. That's you. Applications are available on the fire school's website. I encourage you to take time, look at it. Reflect back, and is there some individual that had a great impact on you as you started out in the career? Was it an instructor? Was it a chief? Was it someone that came around and taught? We're always looking for this, meets the criteria. Take a look at it. The nomination form requires a detailed summary of the nominee's significant contributions, and focus of the nomination should be on the overall impact on the Arizona Fire Service. Nominations must clearly indicate an impact beyond the nominee's organization and must be beyond the normal job. In other words, they went out and did above what they should normally be doing. Check the website, which you can check the school's website, and you will see a list of members. Presently, there are 43 members, and today we will be adding 4 new members. Some years we have none, so it's really an honor to be selected to this group. All inductees will have a plaque placed at the Hall of Fame wall at the Hall of Fame Museum located on Van Buren Street. We encourage you and your families to visit this museum. There is an open house, I believe, tonight, I think also from 6 to 9. Our first inductee is retired Chief Michael Fusco of the Peoria Fire Department. Chief Fusco has served over 25 sworn years of service to the fire service and served 10-plus years in emergency management and workplace safety. He has served as the president of the Arizona Fire Chiefs Association on 2 separate occasions, and he's a member of the International Fire Chiefs Association. Additionally, he is a member of the American Society of Safety Engineers, City of Peoria Historical Society, past director of the board for the Peoria Boys and Girls Club, Pop Warner Grand Association, and the American Legion. Thank you for your service to your country. He has served on the original Maricopa County Maricopa Association of Governments original and enhanced 911 Oversight Committee, as well as both a member and chair of the Metro Valley Numbering System Project. Along with other public safety executives, they began Arizona's earliest radio interoperability planning and test sites. This work continues today as we prepare for the full public safety radio interoperability and integration statewide. After his retirement as fire chief, Mike was appointed as the city of Peoria's first emergency manager with responsibility for providing guidance and executive level management over all emergency plan development and implementation as well as daily risk and hazard mitigation. Today, Chief Fusco continues to serve the citizens of Arizona as an instructor and mentor in disaster preparation, preparedness, and response for the Arizona Department of Emergency Management. As a consultant for the fire, EMS, and emergency management for the specific communities within Arizona. It is with great pleasure that we induct Chief Michael Fusco into the Arizona Hall of Fame, class of 2014.
Thank you. I actually had a few words to say, but after I heard the last call, when you hear the bells toll on the memorial, I think it puts it in perspective. A few things I'd share is I'd like to thank my family, my wife, kids, my grandkids, my friends. I even got a friend that's a cop, and I even think Mike was really instrumental in this. I don't like to talk about my cop friends, but they're great people. And I want to thank you, because I'll tell you, nothing we do is ever done alone. Everything we do, from the day we walk in the station in the 70s, remember Mike Casson when we started out in the 70s, we did it as a team. We started together, we fought together, we lived together, we laughed together, and a few died together. But when it's all said and done, it's about a few things that you mentioned in the American Legion, and they're not cliches. It was service, dedication, and sacrifice. They're not cliches, they're not phrases. It's what we do. And every day when I wake up, I thank God that I had the opportunity to work with you, to be part of you, and to still have those relationships that will take us into the next decade. I hope we made it better than we found it, because I know you're going to make it better when you turn it over. Thank you.
Our second inductee is Chief Marco Olson, retired of the Tri-City Fire District. Marco has dedicated over 37 years to the fire service. He has served on the Arizona Fire Chiefs Association, representative for Southern Gila, Greenlee, and Graham counties. This involvement has kept him working with all the fire departments within this area, helping them with chief development and problem solving. He is an active member of the Arizona Fire Chiefs Association, Arizona Fire Districts Association, Gila County Fire Chiefs Association, and a longtime member or former member of the Arizona State Fire Training Committee. Because of his dedication to the Arizona Fire Districts Association, Arizona Fire Chiefs, and especially the Arizona State Fire School, his impact will be felt by many people for years to come. It is with great pleasure that we induct retired Fire Chief Marco Olson of the Tri-City Fire Department into the Arizona Hall of Fame, class of 2014. We accept this award on Marco's behalf because, as I stated, Michael's retired and he's on a fishing trip in Lake Michigan. And I guess if I had a trip in Lake Michigan fishing, I think I would pass it up. We wish him Godspeed on his retirement and best of luck living in the state of Minnesota. Our next inductee is Chief Paul Adams of Avondale Fire and Medical. Paul has dedicated over 41 years to the fire service. He has served on the State Training Committee, the Governor's State Fire Safety Committee. He has served as the Arizona representative on the International Fire Service Accreditability Conference as the Western Division Executive Committee for the past 7 years. He has dedicated his time to supporting the Center for Fire Service Excellence by serving on their site team. He served as director of the Desert Southwest EMS and Leadership Conference, excuse me, which is formerly known as the Arizona Fire Chiefs Conference, for many years. He's on the advisor board for the University of California, Davis Certificate Program in Senior Leadership. He is the Chief Operating Officer for the Arizona Center for Fire Service Excellence. He has served on the Training Accreditation Board for the International Fire Service Accreditation Congress. He is the Executive Director of the Annual Fire Service Instructor Conference. Paul was also instrumental in partnering with the City of Glendale in designing and planning the Glendale Regional Public Safety Training Center. Paul became chief of Avondale Fire Department in 1996. It had one station and a population of approximately 18,000 people. Avondale Fire and Medical now has 4 stations and serves a community of over 80,000 people. Paul has also found time to join the Avondale Chamber of Commerce and support their endeavors as well. And this is probably the most true statement of the whole nomination, there are very few fire chiefs or chief officers in the state of Arizona that have not benefited from Chief Paul Adams' wisdom or leadership. My time is limited. I could go on and on about Paul, but Bob Hanson has us on a strict time schedule. So it's with great pleasure that we induct Fire Chief Paul Adams of the Avondale Fire and Medical into the Arizona Hall of Fame, class of 2014. Oops.
Well, Chief Hanson didn't give me any time limits, so I guess I can be up here as long as I want. Probably one of the scariest things that you can do in a fire service career is follow Chief Fusco on a podium. You never know where he's likely to go. But it is interesting that things do come full circle. Chief Fusco happened to be sitting on the hiring panel when I was hired to the city of Avondale. So it's nice to be inducted into the Hall of Fame with him, and it's an honor to be inducted, period. If you go to the website and look at some of the names for previous inductees, Arizona has been very fortunate. There are luminaries in the Hall of Fame that have impacted the fire service across this country. So we are indeed fortunate that we have those individuals to look to as mentors. But as Chief Fusco said, this doesn't happen just because of what we do. Without the support from the City of Avondale, the City Administration, Avondale Fire and Medical, and the tremendous staff that we have there, the great relationship we have internally, I certainly would not have had the opportunity to do the things that Paul mentioned up here. I've had a very fortunate career. I look forward to it continuing. And for all of you out there that are certainly much younger than I am, I tell all of our recruit classes, please do not make your career a spectator sport. Find the opportunities to do the networking, to get involved in your community, to get involved in the fire service outside your community, and to have an impact so that at the end of your career, you can look back on it with pride and say that I have given it all and hopefully have had some impact on the fire service of the community and the state. Thank you to the committee for this extreme honor and enjoy the fire school. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm going to now turn the podium over to Chief Mike Casson, and he will conduct the last inductee, which is for selected by the Veterans Committee.
There's a small group of us that were charged with the responsibility a few years ago of researching the history of the fire service in Arizona and to identify people from past generations who have had an impact and made a difference in what has been done in the fire service throughout the state of Arizona and on a national level. And annually, we take a look at a long list of people from the past who've made an impact. We do some research and we try to identify whether these people should be inducted into the Hall of Fame. It's pretty easy to do it with people that we're working with on a daily and an annual basis that we know are making an impact and have made a difference in the fire service. But to go back and look at that history, some of which is difficult to find information on, we get the opportunity to identify people who have really made an impact. And I was charged with the responsibility of presenting the award this year for our veteran fire service membership in the Hall of Fame. And it's with a great deal of pleasure that I get to induct Robert J. Bob Ross into the Arizona Fire Hall of Fame. Bob Ross goes way back, and I'll give you a little bit of history on him shortly, but he spent 20 years in the Phoenix Fire Department, went through the ranks, and served as the fire marshal for the city of Phoenix for from 1960 to 1972. During his tenure there, he had a great deal of effort in community public education, firefighter training, and fire code enforcement in that community. He retired from Phoenix in 1972, and there was a tragic fire in Tucson, Arizona in the early 70s, the Pioneer Hotel fire. A number of people were killed in it, and it prompted a committee to be formed to establish the Arizona State Fire Marshal's Office. And this committee was led by, you might recognize the name, Sandra Day O'Connor. It was made up of fire service leaders across the state. And in 1972, the office of the Arizona State Fire Marshals was opened August 24th. Bob Ross was appointed the state's first fire marshal September 18th, 1972, and he served as the fire marshal until 1978. And you talk about having an impact on service. During his tenure, he was instrumental in establishing the first state fire code. He established statewide fire service training, got that started, and his office was the one that established the very first fire school that was held in Phoenix down on Van Buren at the Ramada Inn, and we had 311 attendees at that first fire school. But Bob was really instrumental in ensuring that the state take on some responsibilities for providing fire training for firefighters across the state of Arizona. And not just the state fire school that started, but the outreach programs where instructors were hired by the fire marshal's office to go out and provide training across the state. He also implemented a fire reporting system in Arizona and was only the fourth state in the country that assembled that kind of fire information so that we could study trends and things that happen in fire suppression and fire activity throughout. He built a cadre across the state of nearly 100 deputy fire marshals across the state. He provided training and development for fire service leaders in different communities throughout the state and had almost 100 people on board that were out there to provide code enforcement throughout the state of Arizona. Bob's had a tremendous impact on fire safety through code enforcement, fire investigation, and public education. His impact on firefighter safety and efficiency through the State Fire School and the outreach training across the state truly had an impact. He was one of the early leaders in this whole Arizona State fire training system and has done a remarkable job. Unfortunately, we lost Bob Ross. I think he passed away in 1999, so this award will be given posthumously. Bob's family has joined us this evening. There's nearly a dozen of them, and they represent 4 generations of Bob Ross family, and they are here to accept his nomination into the Hall of Fame. And I would ask that his daughter, Linda, please come up. My pleasure to present this award to Linda on behalf of Bob and his family. Why don't Bob Ross's family please stand up and just be recognized. Congratulations.